Have you ever just watched a bird and wondered, how do they do it? How does this tiny creature, sometimes weighing less than a coin, fly thousands of miles and somehow find its way back to the exact same spot? Well, today we're diving into one of nature's most unbelievable superpowers, the fact that birds don't just feel the Earth's magnetic field, they can literally see it.
I mean, really, let that sink in for a second. We're talking about millions of birds, crossing entire continents, flying through storms over vast oceans, all without a map, a compass, or a GPS. And they do it with a level of precision that our own technology can barely match. How is that even possible?
Well, the answer is somehow even more wild than the question itself. It turns out the leading theory is that for these birds, the planet's magnetic field isn't some vague feeling or an instinctual pull. No, it's something they see. It's a visual part of their world. Okay, so your first question is probably, how on Earth can you see an invisible magnetic field? To get our heads around that, we need to talk about what is, for all intents and purposes, a built-in sixth sense.
The official scientific term for this is magnetoreception, but really, just think of it like this. Instead of a compass you have to pull out and look at, it's like having a live, data-rich map streamed directly into your vision 24/7. It's an absolutely elegant solution to a very complex problem.
So this magnetic field, which is generated way down in the molten iron core of our planet, gives birds two super important pieces of info. First, its intensity. Basically, how strong is the signal right here? And second, its inclination. What's the angle of the magnetic field lines compared to the ground? You put those two things together, and what you get is a reliable global map that a bird can actually read.
But how does a bird's brain actually process this map? This is where the story takes a turn from biology into the seriously weird world of physics. Because the secret, it seems, lies at the quantum level, and it all happens right inside the bird's eye. We're talking about a literal quantum compass.
So here's how it works. It all starts when blue light enters the bird's eye. That light hits a special protein in the retina called cryptochrome. When that happens, it creates these things called radical pairs. Think of them as tiny, magnetically sensitive electron partners. Now here's the mind-blowing part. Earth's magnetic field, as incredibly weak as it is just strong enough to change how these little electron pairs act. And the bird's brain is so finely tuned that it can interpret those tiny quantum changes as a visual pattern.
Let's just be really clear about what that means. The radical pair mechanism isn't some far-out theory. It's a real-world example of quantum biology in action. An invisible magnetic field is literally changing the chemistry inside a bird's eye, and the brain is turning that chemical signal into sight. It's wild.
And this is what's so incredible. If this is all true, it means birds are directly perceiving a quantum event. They aren't just using quantum mechanics in some abstract way. Their vision is made of it. They are seeing a quantum effect happen in real time, with their own eyes.
So the big question is, what does this magnetic vision actually look like? What is the bird experiencing? How does its brain turn all this quantum stuff into something useful?
I think my favorite analogy from all the research is this one. Scientists describe it as a biological heads-up display, just like a fighter pilot has, projecting data onto their view. It's a natural compass built right into the eye.
This means it doesn't block out their normal sight. It's more like an overlay, a filter that's permanently switched on. The magnetic field might appear as patterns of light or shadow, draped right on top of the physical landscape, giving them a constant, real-time stream of directional info.
And it gets even more amazing. Scientists now think birds are probably using two different systems that work together. So you've got the cryptochrome system in the eye, which provides the directional info, that's their compass, but they also seem to have a second system, probably near the beak, that uses tiny particles of a magnetic mineral called magnetite. This system senses the field's intensity, which works more like a GPS coordinate. So they have both a compass telling them which way is north and a map telling them where on Earth am I.
All right, so you might be thinking this all sounds a little too much like science fiction, but the evidence backing it up is actually really solid. For one, experiments show the sense only works when there's light, specifically blue or green light, which is what's needed to kickstart that cryptochrome protein. Second, you can jam it. Even weak man-made radio noise can totally throw off a migrating bird. And finally, you can see birds moving their heads back and forth, which suggests they're actively scanning a visual pattern to get their bearings.
So when you put all of these pieces together, it paints this incredible picture of a world that for a bird is just luminous. It's filled with vital information that is completely and totally invisible to us.
And what really makes this feat extraordinary is the sheer sensitivity involved. The Earth's magnetic field is only about 50 microteslas. To put that in perspective, that is thousands of times weaker than the cheap little magnet holding a shopping list to your fridge. And yet, birds can read it perfectly.
But that incredible sensitivity has a modern-day weakness. All of the electromagnetic noise that we humans generate, from our cell phones, radio towers, power lines, all of it could be creating a kind of electronic static that messes with this very delicate natural system. It's a real and growing concern.
This idea really forces us to completely rethink what a landscape even is. For a bird, the world isn't just a collection of trees and mountains and rivers. The landscape is a navigational map, literally written into the fabric of space itself.
So, the one thing to really take away from all this is simple. Birds are living in a natural form of augmented reality. Their vision is layered with invisible data that guides them with pinpoint accuracy across the entire globe.
And that leaves us with a final, really fascinating question to ponder. If a creature we see every single day is experiencing a fundamental force of physics as part of its visual reality, what other wonders are out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for the right kind of eyes to see them?